Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about winter variation. So if the last pair is already made in the U layer, like this, and it just needs to be inserted, normally you would just do something like this, and then go on and do your OLL. But what winter variation does is it's a set of 27 algorithms that will force an OLL skip once you recognize what corner orientation case you have. So you basically get an OLL skip, and then go right on to PLL. This is most useful for something like ZZ or Petrus because you always have edge orientation, whereas if you use this for CFOP, you only get it once every few solves. So we're going to start off with this case, and how I recognize this case is that I just see everything is oriented that's not the F2L pair, so all the corners are oriented, and all the edges, of course, have to be oriented for winter variation. So for this, the alg I use is So next we have this case, and how you recognize this is that these two corners back here are oriented, and this corner is facing towards you. So this is just your normal insert, so next is when this corner is facing out this way. So how I recognize this is basically I just recognize that these two are oriented, and then it's not facing at me here, so it must be facing over here. So for this I use So next we've got when these two diagonal corners are oriented and this one is misoriented. So first is when the misoriented corner is facing out this way. So the algorithm for this is and next is when these two are oriented and this corner is facing back this way. So this one is just insert the pair, and then you have anti-soon. Next two are when these two corners are oriented. So the first is when this corner is facing out this way, and for this, you first do the sexy move, and then insert the pair. And when the corner is facing back this way, the algorithm for this is Okay, so now we're going to move on to cases where there are only one corner oriented. So these first four are when this corner is oriented. So most people recognize this is that once they see this corner oriented, they look at these two corners and see, okay, for the first case, this one's facing this way, and then this one's facing that way. And you can do it that way, but for these cases, I prefer to, once I look at this, then look at this corner right here. So if I see that the white is not visible by looking here or here, which means it must be facing down, I know it's this case. So for this next case, what most people do again is they look at this corner and this corner to see how it's facing this way and this way. But what I prefer to do for this is, again, look at this corner and see that white's facing out this way. So then for this I use So most people recognize this, like I said, for the other ones, is that you have kind of a Superman thing going on back here where they're facing back this way. So once I see that white is right here, I then look right at this spot, right at this sticker. And if this sticker is not white, I use this alg. But if I see that the sticker right here is white, instead what I do is move on to cases where this corner is oriented and these two are misoriented. So this first one is when this corner is facing towards you and this one's facing backwards, so they're kind of both going like this. So for this I use So next is when this corner is facing out this way and this one's facing out this way, so again they kind of have both going in opposite directions. So for this I use So for this next one, this corner is facing out this way, and this corner is facing towards you. So for this case, I use So for this case, I recognize it by saying that this corner is facing out this way, and this corner is facing out this way. So for this, I use Okay, so now we're moving on to when this corner is oriented. So for this case, you recognize it by seeing that these two are facing out this way. And for this you use... This next case is when this corner is facing out this way, this one's facing out this way. This I use. So this next one is when this corner is facing out this way, and this one's facing that way. So for this I use... And this last one is when this front corner is facing at you, and this one is facing that way. So for this I use... Now we're moving on to no corners oriented cases. I'd say these are the most difficult to recognize, but execution on these are all pretty easy, so you can make up for lost time with that. So for these first four, I first see that the front corner is facing towards me, and I look at these two. So with this first one, how I recognize it is that there's sort of a soon thing going on where these two are facing like that, and this one is facing at you, so they kind of make soon. So for this I use... So next one is when this corner is facing back this way, and this one's facing that way, so these two kind of make chameleon eyes, and this one's just not facing the same kind of direction that they are. So for this I use... So this next one is when these two are both facing back this way. So for this I use... And this last one is when this front corner is facing at you, and then these two are both facing out this way and this way. So for this I use... Okay, so now we're moving on to when this front corner is facing out this way. So this first one is when these back two are going like this and like this. So now they form kind of an anti-soon sort of thing. So for this I use... Next one is when this corner is facing this way, and this one's facing to the back. And for this I use... So the next one is when these two corners are facing out this way and this way. So for this I use... And this last one variation case for this tutorial is when these two corners are both facing back. So for this, the algorithm is... So guys, those are the 27 window variation algs I use. I recommend that if you're trying to learn these, you learn them little by little. So first, one day you'd recognize some of the two corner oriented cases, then the next you memorize 4 of the one corner oriented cases. And to really break these in, if you use CFOP, I recommend either doing ZZ solves and always trying to force the pair before you insert it, or doing Petrus and again forcing the front pair. Or if you're just really lazy, you can do RU generator solves and just do like 500 of those until you feel like you're confident in them. So guys, that's all. Thanks for watching.